The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Friday edition, a Good Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, do yourself a favor, do your wallet a favor, and head over to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Before you put pen to paper, please, please, please go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Give them an opportunity to earn your business. Trust me when I tell you, you will not be sorry you did this. Greenwood Chevrolet has three qualities that you need to be a great car dealership. Number one, they have a great sales department. They're not going to sell you a lemon. They're not in the business of selling lemons over there. Number two, a great finance department. They're going to get you the lowest interest rate humanly possible so you don't have to pay an arm and a leg and outrageous interest rates. That's number two. And number three, your baby's going to need some TLC every once in a while. The oil changed, tires rotated. God forbid you wreck the car and you need some repairs. Service department, top notch. Add it all up, it's a supremely great car dealership. So before you put pen to paper and sign your life away with a 6 or 7 year loan, you need to check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, lots to get to. We're going to have 4 high school baseball coaches calling in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline today. Terry Dobson from Springfield will be calling in momentarily to talk Tigers baseball. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Matt Weimer from Ursuline. We'll talk some Ursuline Irish baseball. At 12:45 today, Joe Paris from Austintown Fitch. They're off to a 2-0 start in the league. I believe they're 3-0 overall. We'll talk Fitch baseball at 12:45, and Tom Otto from Liberty will be chiming in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Leopards off to a 2-0 or 3-0 start. I know this. The first 14 innings of Liberty Leopards baseball, they hadn't given up a run, which is pretty dang impressive. We'll talk with Coach Otto from Liberty at 1:15. Before we get Terry Dobson on the line, if you're one of these people that bases a 162-game season on one game in the snow, you're a moron. There's no other way to put this. If you're going to base an entire season on one game in horrible weather, I don't know what to tell you except you're a moron. To give everyone an idea of just how ridiculous this is, there are 161 games left in the season. 99.38% of the Major League Baseball season is left. 99.38%, okay? We haven't even barely touched the surface. So if you're one of those folks that believes one game in, you can pretty much kiss the season goodbye, well, then I guess that you Yankee fans and you Atlanta fans and you Reds fans, and let's not forget you Dodger fans from the defending world champs. Your season is over. Nope, your season's over. It's one game in. Your season is over. I guess Clayton Kershaw is going to be a terrible pitcher this year because, well, he only went 5 2/3 and he gave up 5 runs and he has an ERA close to 9. He's a terrible pitcher. Forget about it. Stick a fork in him. Do you know how idiotic this sounds? That's pretty idiotic. It's one game. If you were on the losing end of an opener, it's one game. If you're on the winning end of an opener, Pirates fans, who knocked off the Cubs yesterday, it's one game. Stop with the insanity. You're acting stupid. All right, let's get to the phone lines. There's nothing stupid about this program. The Springfield Tigers, year in, year out, they play solid baseball. And to talk about the 2021 edition of the Springfield Tigers, we bring in the skipper from the Springfield Tigers, Terry Dobson. Coach, how are you today, my good friend?
Good. Yourself?
I cannot complain. All right, so here we are, another spring, and for the first time in 2 years, we got ourselves some high school baseball. Let's talk a little bit about the talent that you have and how strange it was to begin practicing after about 2 years of not having any high school baseball.
Once you get on the saddle and ride a while, you forget, you don't forget some things. But I'm going to be honest with you, when we did start practicing, there was some items after we practiced during a week or so that I had to go back through my notes and look at to see that, we didn't do that. I got to get back and do this. So yes, there is some items that you forget to do that, I guess I'm a little overboard on tracking things like that, but I go back and I got notebooks filled with stuff to go over, so I had to do a lot of that to sort of catch up on things.
In 2019, the seniors and juniors were sophomores and freshmen. Did any of those kids that you have, your upperclassmen, were any of those kids involved in varsity baseball? Do you have any experience coming back, Coach?
I have very little experience coming back. I have 2 lettermen coming back, Mitchell Seymour and Nick. Basically, and Nick's out because of an injury in football. He has a broken bone in his back that basically he was to be my starting second baseman, leadoff hitter, and either number 2, number 3 pitcher. So him and Mitchell Seymour are the only 2 letter winners that I have back. There are a couple of the juniors that saw minimal action as freshmen on there, but they did not letter. So as far as experience goes, yes, I'm a little bit limited on experience.
For the freshmen and the sophomores, I mean, the last time we had high school baseball, they were in junior high. How fast is the transition, or how quick has the transition been for these kids to get on board with and be up to date with everything going on with baseball?
I was a little bit fortunate last year, even though not having a high school season. I want to say the majority of this year's sophomores and freshmen played summer baseball. So I'm a little bit fortunate in that area, but they were diverse on different teams in that and different ways of doing things. So sort of rounding them up and doing the things that we need to do. There's some changes and language, basically terms that are a little bit different than what they were using on their summer teams. But it's coming around. I mean, it's baseball's 101's baseball 101.
Terry Dobson, the head baseball coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, do you find yourself in a teaching type of year this year, more so than in previous years?
As in what?
Just the game in general. Is it because we didn't have baseball last year? Is there more of a teaching environment going on with the team?
Yes, absolutely. You know, like you said, with the freshmen and the sophomores, every year the freshmen, you know, the terminology and things of that nature. But yes, there is more teaching, more stopping, and going through things that in the past years I could tell they've been in the system long enough. We go over this, you know, you remind them once, twice, and they got it, and you move forward. This year there's more repetition on various defensive skills, offensive mindset, things of that nature. Yes, there is more of that this year than there ever has been.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the early part of this 2021 campaign. It's just a typical spring in northeastern Ohio. Some days the weather is absolutely glorious, and then you have days like April Fool's Day and today where it's cold, and you really probably aren't going to be able to play any baseball. Not that anyone would play any baseball today, or I would assume, but it's a typical hit and miss type of weather in northeastern Ohio. How has that affected you guys in terms of the amount of games you've played this year?
We've played one so far. We've played one. We could not get games scheduled. Last Saturday was the official opening of the season. We couldn't get games scheduled on Saturday, Saturday or Monday, Monday or Tuesday, but Lowellville was good enough basically to flip our Thursday's game to Tuesday, looking ahead at the weather. So that's the reason we did get one game in on there. But a normal procedure, like you said, for northeastern Ohio. 61 day in the wind chill today is in the teens. What the big issue is of not being able to go outside is the gym usage. When you have a softball JV teams, varsity teams having to use the gym, I got to take the older kids later in the evening, and sometimes we're not getting out of there until 8:30, going on 9 o'clock at night. Whereas if the weather was better, we're outside, and they're getting to get home, get to their books by 5 o'clock, 5:30.
The secret of scheduling in this area, and it's all based on a 27-game schedule, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, 27 is the maximum you're allowed to play in the state of Ohio. Is that correct?
Yeah, in regular season.
Yeah.
In regular season games.
So
yeah,
for 27 games, I mean your AD has to be really busy, and sometimes schedule 4 and 5 consecutive games, knowing you're not going to get that kind of string of luck in terms of Mother Nature, and you'll be fortunate to have 2 or 3 games played. Is that the direction you guys are going?
Yeah, absolutely. They extended the season, pushed tournaments back last year or 2 years ago it was, to extend the season longer, which tried, and the reason I was told they did this is because of the smaller schools or some schools not having enough pitching basically to do it like the larger schools, load up 4 or 5 games during the week and they have some arms. So they extended the season in days to get the regular season in before the tournaments start, to give more leeway between the games for those smaller schools that do not have the arms, would have to use pitchers repetitively, during the week and that. But yeah, it's you schedule games knowing that you're not going to get all of them in, and then you just our league basically leaves Wednesday open. If you get shut down on Monday or Tuesday, to schedule on Wednesday right away. Yes, that is a difficult call in northeastern Ohio, but you do schedule a bunch of them in a row knowing that you're not going to get it, and then the AD has to jump through hoops with other teams basically to try to get rescheduled and not bump non-conference games out, so you keep your amount of games that you want as close to 27 as possible.
Terry Dobson, the head baseball coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You brought up pitching, and The smaller schools, not a lot of pitching, and there's been a bunch of injuries, and I don't know if there's correlation between the fact we haven't had baseball, high school baseball, since 2019, but certainly there have been a rash of injuries. That has to certainly go into play in terms of how many pitches kids are going to be throwing early on in the campaign, I would imagine.
Yeah, we take an emphasis basically on trying to protect arms. And that's why I tell some of the kids coming in, you may have never pitched before, but we're going to teach you how to be a pitcher, just to cover some innings and that. We've been fortunate. Now, I will say this year I have one player that I was going to lean on to throw. He says his elbow hurts, but as of the last couple of days, he basically said he's okay to go. But during practice, we monitor pitching during the week, whether we have games or not. I mean, we strictly follow a throwing regiment, basically to try to prevent injuries to the arms on there. But yeah, I can see some of the schools that their players did not have the opportunity to play in the summer, or they chose not to, coming back in and wanting to go full tilt. And you got to watch them. You got to shut them down, whether they like it or not. I mean, you got to watch the pitch counts on these kids. So yes, I can see where some of the injuries, not because of some of the coaching, but because just of the players want to get at it because they've been away from it so long, that, and they overdo it, and and that's what happens.
And the bad part of inclement weather like we've had the last couple of days, if you start stringing up a long string of inclement weather, now all of a sudden you got to cram the remaining schedule into a certain amount of days, and that can wreak havoc on your team as well.
Correct. The off days, we still follow a pitching or throwing regiment. And sometimes it jumps around in that, but yes, if you lose games up front, they're jammed in the back end, and you've got to keep throwing the kids within the gyms. It just depends on whether they're your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitcher, basically, of when you throw them, how much you throw them, looking ahead. But you got to get their arms built up that when it's needed, they're there. So it's a process, and we do have a process on strengthening kids' arms, even if we are not playing.
Terry Dobson, the head baseball coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, Coach, you're one game in, 1-0 on the campaign. Let's talk a little bit about your team. Who are you relying on? Who are some of your seniors on this team this year, Coach?
Well, Mitchell Seymour, basically, in my opinion, is one of the elite players in the area. He's been with me for, 4 years, even though we didn't play last year. He started for me as a freshman in the outfield. He'll be one of the premier pitchers, I believe, should be in the area this year. Also playing middle infield for us as a senior. He is a preferred walk-on pitcher at YSU. Another senior is Nate LeBoy, that basically will be playing the outfield and batting somewhere in the middle of the order. And then moving from there, we're going to be a heavy junior sophomore team is where we're going to be on there. So there's a lot of younger kids basically that we're going to lean on, as far as Aaron Groner, Braden Butler, Ethan Mannion, A.J. Stallsmith, and every time I start naming kids, I know I'm going to forget somebody, and then I'm going to hear about it.
Of course, that is par for the course. We know that very well.
Wood, Vincent Wood, Shondell Gardner. A lot of those are the juniors and sophomores that are going to come up. And I've got and we had talked briefly on this about jamming some of the games in because of the weather and that. I will be committed to bringing up some of the freshmen to put on the mound to throw. We've got some freshman kids that can throw off the mound at varsity level.
Yeah, that's always a really, really good thing. You know, one thing I love about Springfield, they'll play anyone, anytime, anywhere. Give us a little taste of your non-conference schedule, because I know Springfield likes to they like to push the envelope in terms of scheduling up.
Yeah, we don't hold back, and my feeling on it basically is, how are you going to get better unless you play better teams? I mean, point blank, period. You know, we've got Boardman, you know, we've got Ursuline, we've got Mooney. We scrimmaged Canfield, we had Canfield, and then they brought back the prom, and we had to dump that game because of the prom. I'm just thinking Mooney, Ursuline, Boardman. I know we had Canfield. And I don't have the schedule here in front of me, but, you know, we go down to Minerva. We play down at Minerva. We bring in Garfield in here to play in a tri-way doubleheader on a Saturday. So, yeah, I mean, we try to upgrade or try to go to the top, basically play as many as we can to get better.
And the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, whether it's the Scarlet tier or the Gray tier, there's some good baseball. It's a fantastic conference, no matter the sport. It is a fantastic conference with D3 and D4 schools in basketball and baseball, D5, D6, D7 schools in football. The competition in the MVAC is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate in the past couple of years to come out on top, and you know, it's always a fight. So, I mean, that's, you know, phase one of our season, and then we move on to phase two in the tournaments, and we got different goals that we shoot for, but we got to get to goal one before we can get to goal two.
Are you guys D3 or D4 this year in baseball, Coach?
We are D3. Based off of the count, what was it, 2 years ago or something like that. As far as what I'm being told, as far as our head count is right now, is we should be D4, but we're D3. We're locked in because they do it every 2 years.
Well, listen, I mean, it bodes well for the program. Year in, year out, this program is always fantastic, but D3 this year, and I'd never want to skip ahead when it comes to baseball, but you can't help but notice D3 is going to be absolutely crazy come tournament time, because there are a ton of high-quality Division III teams this year in this area.
Absolutely, 100%. You are 100% hit the nail on the head there. I looked at the breakdown on the D3 in northeastern Ohio. It's very strong. Very, very strong this year with teams in there that are going to be good. Yes, I agree 100% with you.
Well, Coach, I can't wait to see your product. I know that Mother Nature's kind of held you guys back a little bit, but hopefully the weather clears consistently and we get the Tigers on the field. I know that year in, year out, you guys boast a really tough and very fundamentally sound baseball team, and I look forward to seeing more of the same this year with Springfield.
Oh, I appreciate that, and we try to, and there's a lot of work yet to be done.
I know that, Coach. I can only imagine. But best of luck to you. And hey, before we let you go, give your coaches a little bit of credit as well. Who are the folks helping you out on this team this year?
Corey Snyder has been with me basically from the beginning. He helped Coach Weimer before me. I believe he was with Coach Beam also. You know, my age is starting to tell here. I can't remember things. But I believe he was with Coach Beam, Weimer, and now with me, so I'm very fortunate. Coach Mike O'Hara from over in Struthers has come on this year to run the JV program, and just solid individual. And Jim Fantone, which is a teacher over at Columbiana, he used to coach baseball down in Beaver, Pennsylvania. He's come on also to help with the JV program. So I've been very, very lucky and very fortunate to have these coaches along with me.
Coach, best of luck to you and your staff and your kids this year, and we look forward to seeing you play many games with Springfield this year.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You got it, sir. Terry Dobson, he is the head baseball coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, we have Matt Weimer from Ursuline coming up in just a bit. We will chat with the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish. That will be coming up in a matter of moments. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline will be open for business probably from 1:30 until 3 o'clock. So certainly look forward to hearing from you. And again, Major League Baseball opening up in the snow and all kinds of other crazy stuff yesterday. And I'll say what I said at the top of the show. If you're one of these people that believes that the season is defined by opening day, you pretty much need to stop being a moron. It's sorry. The game is not going to be defined by an afternoon of snow in Detroit or an afternoon of freezing conditions at Wrigley Field. That's absurd. I mean, 99.67% of the season is left. We're not even at the 10% mark yet. I mean, we still got 15 games left before we even get to 10% of the season, for God's sake. Let's take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We're back in a bit.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Let's get back to our spotlight on some high school baseball in the Mahoning Valley. Joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, Matt Weimer. Coach, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Typical northeastern Ohio weather. Yesterday, Mother Nature for the win with the April Fool's Day joke. And today with temperatures in the 30s and low 40s. Really inclement weather for baseball, but we have had a few days where it's been absolutely beautiful for baseball. How often have you guys been able to get on the field, and how many games have you played thus far, Skip?
So we've been able to get outside more this year than this is my 11th year coaching high school baseball, and I played 3 scrimmages this year, and I don't think I've had 3 scrimmages combined in the other 10 years of playing high school baseball. So I always joke about global warming. I'm like, I know it's supposed to not be good for the planet, but for Northeast Ohio, boy, it's been great. The last couple of springs have been real mild. We've been able to get outside a bunch, and we played Howland the first game on the 27th of March, and usually the first couple of weeks of high school baseball, because no one's been outside, they're really pitchers duel, low-scoring game, and Howland came out and really swung the bats well, and we've seen a lot of that since, even with our own kids, and just being able to get outside makes such a huge difference in the early part of the year in terms of the quality of play. We're not seeing fly balls for the first time or live pitching outside for the first time. Everyone's kind of accustomed to it. So, yeah, Mother Nature played a little trick on us yesterday, but we've already played 4 games, which is great for this time of year. Obviously, we're only 1 off the pace, so we've been very fortunate. Hopefully, it continues.
Matt Weimer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I got to imagine that it's probably a blessing in disguise that we've had an opportunity to have scrimmages and a lot of scrimmages this year due to some very nice weather the last 2 days notwithstanding. And I say this because some of your kids, not all of them, but some of your kids, you didn't get a full year of baseball. I would assume most of the kids played summer baseball in some sort of fashion, but we haven't had high school baseball in a couple of years, so a really nice start weather-wise was probably what the doctor ordered for these kids to get a little bit of experience, albeit in some scrimmages, before we get the season going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know every program has a different COVID story, about how the year off kind of impacted them, whether it was, we didn't get a chance to rebuild and gear up for this year, or we didn't get a chance to, say goodbye to our senior class who we were really hoping to carry us, or, I think about Coach Hannick down at South Range. They had a really deep team last year, a team that had already won a state championship, and you only get those kids for that small window, and you lose a window to compete for a state championship like that. Like for us, we had 8 seniors. 4 of those guys had played 4 years of varsity baseball. Their win total had improved every year. And so not to get them to the finish line the right way, not to see all their hard work pay off. They took a lot of lumps when they were young. But we went from, 8 wins to 10 wins to 12 wins, and we were hoping to make a big jump up there and kind of challenge South Range in the district. And not to have them get that last payoff really hurt. And then, like you said, the part that always goes unnoticed is the stuff behind the scenes. You don't get to watch kids play JV or see them practice for a whole year. So when you lose 8 seniors like we did, you go into a season kind of thinking, all right, well, we're losing our shortstop, but we like, Timmy and Tommy down at the JV, and they can kind of slug it out and see who's going to be the shortstop. But without having a year of baseball, we didn't get any of that. So, went down to the theme park, saw a lot of our guys play in the summer. You try to formulate some ideas there, and then you go into the off-season workouts, and you formulate some more ideas there. But until you actually get onto the field and see who's going to fit where, and we still have guys moving around. You just don't know. And so losing 2020 not only hurts like a senior-wise, but you lose a whole year of kind of gauging what your team's going to look like in the future.
For the freshmen and sophomores, though, this, and I don't ever want to say that 2020, the loss of baseball in 2020, was a good thing. It wasn't. But for the freshmen and sophomores, this is an opportunity for them to basically be on the same plane as everyone else and then have an opportunity to show their stuff in hopes of playing varsity baseball this year.
Sure, absolutely. And we've always been, I shouldn't say wherever I've coached, we've always pushed for young kids. I've always believed in playing the best 9 guys, freshman to sophomore, and it seems, I know when I was at Springfield, we had a young group of kids that got to play right away, and I just mentioned those seniors that were going to graduate last year. 4 of those guys played as freshmen, and we obviously know what kind of a talent Brady Shannon is. He played as a freshman, and we were set to have a couple freshmen play for us last year, Luca Raschuti and Drew Carilla on the mound, and now we have a couple freshmen playing for us this year with Jack Erickson and CJ Frasco. So, it does help them in a terms because they're coming in kind of after the lost season and everything. But, you only get those seniors that one time around, like I mentioned. So what I've found out, especially playing the schedule that we like to play, like on tomorrow, we're going up to Walsh Jesuit, who routinely has one of the best teams in the state in terms of talent. And Coach Kazmer has a great program. And, you go up there with a bunch of 15-year-olds. It's really hard to win up there when you're so young. So it is nice that they're kind of coming in on an equal plane, but at the same time, you never want to throw away a year of development for anybody.
Matt Weimer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MPVivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. So what has the numbers been like for you this year in terms of kids going out for baseball?
It's been really good. I think we had 29, 30 kids come out, which is about where we're at. We've never had a freshman team. It's just the problem with freshman baseball is we don't have a lot of teams locally that have freshman baseball. So if you're going to play a freshman schedule, you're going to be making a lot of trips over to Akron, Canton, Cleveland, and that can get really time-consuming for everybody involved. It's you have to find another coach. It's another set of uniforms. It's just a real hassle. So we've never added it, and so it's been nice to be able to field 2 teams pretty consistently. We haven't really had to worry about that. I know we were over in Massillon Jackson earlier this spring, and I was talking to their head coach, and he told me that they had 85 kids out for baseball, and he has a varsity A, a varsity B, a JV A, a JV B, and a freshman team in it, and they cut 20 kids. So, it's a little bit down maybe here. I know I've heard some other schools have been struggling to get kids out. We've been pretty consistent. I'm pretty fortunate to have that at Ursuline in terms of our numbers, but baseball seems to be booming in other parts of the state, that's for sure.
No question about that. Coach, let's talk about your coaching staff and the guys behind the scenes helping you out and in this 2021 campaign.
Sure. So Mark Yakubovic, who he was on Bob Beam's staff at Springfield and at Boardman, and I've known Bob Beam for a long time, and so when he stepped away from coaching, I kind of inherited. We call him Yak, so I kind of got Coach Yak through Coach Beam, and he does our base running and coaches third base for us. Really lucky to have Rob Armini. Rob's a PT, so he brings a lot of expertise when it comes to our strength and conditioning, weightlifting. Kids get hurt or injured, he's able to kind of check them out right there and kind of diagnose what they need to do in the immediate future, which has been a big blessing. He does a lot of stuff with our hitting as well. And then the other guy at the varsity level is Logan Poland, who was on my first team at Ursuline. My first year at Ursuline, he was a senior. So he graduated. He came back a couple years ago, coached 1 year, and then kind of life got in the way. But now he's back for his second tour of duty. And it's always nice to have young guys who are interested in coaching. They always have a great way of relating with the kids. So that's the varsity staff. And then Paul Kemp, who obviously is known as a football coach, but he's been on my JV staff every year I've been at Ursuline. He teaches at the school. Again, just a guy who really knows how to relate to high school athletes. And this year we also welcomed Brian Frasco to the JV staff. Mentioned his son earlier. He actually has 2 kids in our program. He coaches on the football staff. He went to Ursuline. He's in the Hall of Fame. Just a really experienced mind when it comes to baseball. He's coached a lot. And, again, having somebody who coaches multiple sports, he knows the kids on a more personal level, and that's really important when it comes to teaching the game.
Well, I had an opportunity to see your kids, your JV kids, play Western Reserve a few nights ago at Scene Park, and you got some talent, Coach. You certainly have some talent on that JV team.
Yeah, we're very excited about the future. We have a really big sophomore class. I think we have 12 sophomores in the program. So it's a blessing and a curse. When you have a big class like that, you have a hard time finding room for all of them at the same time. But you're excited that you have that many options. Again, when those kids grow in the next couple of years and they become seniors, you really like your chances, going to war with a bunch of guys who have played baseball together for 4 years. That really makes things interesting for you and for your opponents. I mean, just having all that experience at one time, that should really pay off for us in a couple of years.
Matt Weimer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. The same thing with Springfield. We had Coach Dobson on just before you called in, and I can say the same thing about Ursuline as I did about Springfield. One of the reasons why Springfield and Ursuline year in, year out play solid baseball, the competition that you guys challenge your kids with. You made mention tomorrow you'll make a trip to Walsh Jesuit to take on one of the best teams in the entire state, let alone Northeastern Ohio. Give everyone a taste of your non-conference schedule, Coach.
Well, the thing about being at Ursuline is we do play with the Steel Valley Conference coming back, so we will play Cheney and East one time, and we'll play Mooney twice, but you get a 27-game schedule. So the beauty about being at Ursuline is you don't have this massive, in-depth conference schedule. And when I was at Springfield, we just like Coach Dobson does, we do go out, we try to challenge ourselves as much as we can. But in the end, more than half of your schedule is tied down by league games that you have to play. At Ursuline, we don't have that. So when we sit down and get a schedule, it's a blank slate for us. So I'm able to call around the state, try to really get our kids not only to see better teams, but better facilities. You really want to impress upon your kids, it's so often sometimes you get jaded because you play these teams and you look around and they might not be that good or their facilities might be run down, but you always want to make sure that your kids understand that there are places where baseball is really doing well. So, we'll go to Walsh. We played St. Ed's already, who's always one of the premier teams in the area up in Cleveland. We have Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. We got rained out the other night with Massillon, Washington, who always has a great program. I don't know why I'm blanking here, but usually we take a trip. COVID's going to ruin that for the second straight year, but we'll take the kids out of town, go down to Cincinnati or Columbus, or this year we're supposed to go over to Minster, which is a little bit north of Dayton. They have one of the great small school programs in the state. They've won 3 straight championships in the last 7 years. So you have an opportunity to play this great schedule and just expose your kids to so many different things, which is all part of the beauty of the Ursuline schedule. I don't have to cancel games because I have to make up a league game. We kind of get to play the whole slate out there.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, and we're speaking with Matt Weimer, the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, give some love to that senior class. The kids are going to wind up only playing 3 years of high school baseball, but give some love to that senior class of yours.
Yes, we have 4 seniors, and much like the 8 we lost last year, they have played baseball for all 4 years, which, as a coach, you always think you're going to lose kids as time drags on, but we've been very fortunate to not only have numbers in our program, but those numbers have stayed. The kids have stayed for years. They've sacrificed. They've been very selfless in terms of what we've asked them to do and the jobs we've asked them to do and the roles we've asked them to play. So we have Dante Walker, who will be a 4-year letter winner when it's all said and done. He plays right field for us. Tremendous football player. I'm sure if you're a football fan in the area, you know the name. Just a really physical kid, really gifted athlete. I know he's still looking, but he'll be playing college football at a campus near you sometime next fall, I'm sure. Jonah Kirschner, who, again, I think he'll be a 3-year guy for us letter-wise. He's our ace of the staff. He's the one that makes our team tick. A tremendous leader. It's kind of an awkward leadership style, but I couldn't be more impressed with the results. He's a beautiful mind, I guess you would say. He just does a great job of getting everybody on the same page, and he gives us a chance to win every time he takes the ball. We have Dylan Peplowski, who plays some outfield for us. He's coming off of an injury, so his season's been a little slow getting started. He hasn't gotten really to ramp up to full speed yet. And Ian Barton's our last one. Ian plays third base for us, bats in our cleanup spot right now. Again, just great kid, steady performer. And, our senior class is just very, very good. They're very, very solid baseball players. They get along. They lead our team. They just really have been everything I could and more. It's been the first year at Ursuline where, I think we just have a really, really solid culture. And I've always been a big believer that doesn't come from the top. That comes from the kids. You got to want to be around each other. And our kids do. And I give those 4 seniors all the credit for that.
Coach, always a pleasure speaking with you. Good luck in this 2021 campaign. And hopefully when the weather breaks beginning tomorrow, we'll be able to have a string of consecutive baseball games thrown in there. And good luck this year. I know Ursuline, Division III, you'll be part of that crazy tournament. It'll be an awful lot of fun to watch you guys play this year.
I really appreciate it, and thanks to all you guys at YSN. I know you guys have really done a great job since this whole thing started with DJ and the coverage for our kids. And as always, if you guys ever need anything, we're all here for you.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
You got it. Matt Weimer, he is the head baseball coach of the Ursuline Irish, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We're going to take a timeout on the other side. Hopefully we will hear from the head baseball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. Joe Paris is scheduled to join us next. Actually, I believe we are going to get Coach Paris right now. Coach Joe Paris of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. Coach, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All righty. Congratulations on the crazy start to the 2021 campaign. A couple of victories over Boardman and one that was straight bananas. That 7th inning was a little bizarre, to say the least, Coach.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. First of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Boardman, both games were they got out in front of us in both games. And in the first game, we scored 9 in the 6th against them at their place, and we had a comfortable lead. We were up 8-3 in the 7th inning with 1 out and nobody on base. And I went to my bullpen. My pitcher had too many pitches, so I got him out of there. And then our bullpen, we struggled a little bit with our control. We weren't getting ahead of hitters. We had a few hit batters and we walked a few guys. And you can't do that to a team like Boardman because it's going to come back to haunt you. They're very well coached over there with Joe Gabriel and his staff. And those Boardman kids, they come to play, and they're going to play to the last out.
Joe Paris, the head baseball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, so everyone is basically in the same boat. We didn't have baseball in 2020. The last time we had baseball, the sophomores and freshmen, or I should say the seniors and juniors were sophomores and freshmen. The underclassmen, the sophomores and freshmen, were in junior high. Has this year been more of a teaching year than normal, Coach?
I mean, yes and no. The thing that's I've noticed is the enthusiasm is through the roof. These guys my guys are ready to play. They've been waiting for the day to get out in the field and play a meaningful game. And they get really hyped before the game. And I'm just proud of the way they work. They've worked so hard, and they've stayed patient, and that's the hardest thing, just to stay patient and wait for your time to come. And my senior class has done a great job of leading the younger kids. And, I have a great coaching staff that works with me. And so we just spend a lot of time with each other, and we're just ready to go. And I think every team around the area is the same way. Practice gets old after a while. You've been practicing for so long, and you want to get out there and play against a real opponent. So it's been good so far. It's been good.
All right, let's talk about that coaching staff because Austintown Fitch has had an unbelievable tradition of really, really good baseball through the years. Let's talk about that coaching staff of yours.
Well, my coaching staff is fantastic. Jake Corbett's my assistant varsity coach. He's been with me for forever, since I've been coaching. We've been together. We even coached middle school basketball together for a long time. He's one of my best friends. And we had a new addition, Frank Pugliese. He helps out as well. Joe Chepke is our head JV coach. He's been with us for a long time. And John Drummond is also our freshman coach. But what means a lot to me is we also have some volunteer coaches, and the volunteer coaches, Joey Chepke, Robbie Russo, these kids have played for me in the past, and they've come back to coach with me. And to me, that means a lot. But make no mistake about it, this is Coach Coppola's program, and it's like falling in Vince Lombardi's shoes. You had Coach Coppola and Coach Rorick, and then Wally Ford was here and did an unbelievable job. And now I'm taking over and trying to do the right things and follow in their footsteps and make those guys proud as well.
You mentioned that you have a freshman team. I got to believe the turnout for the Austintown Fish baseball program was huge this year.
It's been the best turnout since I've been here. We have 18 freshmen that came out. And usually, our senior class is 7 or 8. Our junior class is about the same. Sophomore class about the same. But I'm a school teacher at the middle school, and one thing I've done when I took over was I let the 8th graders come in the fall. And, when the guys are inter-squadding and we get in the weight room and we do some cardio work, I get the 8th graders involved to see what Fitch baseball is really like. And they really enjoy that, too. So it's a process, but I am so proud of our freshman class. It's great to see those numbers, and it makes me feel good.
Coach, you have one of the rarities in this entire area in that you have a turf field, and you can basically go on that field anytime you want to. Unless, of course, there's thunder and lightning, but it's the inclement weather. There really is no such thing. As long as there's no standing snow, you can basically be on that field. How often have your kids been able to take advantage of that?
All the time. I don't even think we had any rainouts last year. Or, I'm sorry, we didn't play last year. The year before at home. We get out there and it's raining. I remember 2 years ago, I think we played Mooney. And I think it was on a Sunday afternoon we played Mooney. And Cleveland Indians got rained out, but we got our game in. So it's just a tremendous advantage. Our Board of Education, our athletic director, Louis Van Hoos at the time, and now Jim Pank, they have done just a great job. We have a great superintendent right now, an ex-Akron Zip baseball player like myself, Dave Capozzello. So it all starts from the top and rolls down through us, through our program. And we're just all appreciative of what we have in our community. We live in a great community in Austintown. I grew up there. I played for Coach Coppola at Fitch. So this is just, for me, it's a dream come true, and I appreciate every second I get.
Joe Paris, he is the head baseball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. He joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. So when you guys are on the road, there's about a 99% chance that you're playing in a normal baseball field, and I use air quotes when I say normal, where it's dirt infield. So how are you guys able to go back and transition from the turf that you're playing to the dirt infield of the road games?
I'll tell you what, I did, honestly, when we went to Boardman last week, and I was watching our team take infield, we really struggled. Our outfielders, the balls were bouncing all over the place. You just don't get those true hops in the infield and the outfield. It took us a while to adjust. We haven't been on a grass field. The boys played at Scene Park or Austintown Community Baseball last summer, so that's probably the last time that, or maybe in the fall if they played at Scene in the fall. It's probably the last time they were on grass. So I did notice it when we started our game against Boardman. And we're going to have to get adjusted to it. We've been blessed with our beautiful field, but at the same time, we have to adjust to going on the road and playing. We can't just play well at home. We have to play well on the road as well. So it's going to be a process, but we'll adjust. Our guys are resilient, and they'll do what it takes to be successful.
Coach, one of the great things about Austintown Fitch, just like some of the other blue blood baseball programs in this area, you take pride in a very difficult non-conference schedule. Now, Fitch and Boardman and Harding, they're three of the smallest Division I programs in all of Ohio. That wasn't the case years ago. Unfortunately, it is today. But let's talk a little bit about your non-conference schedule.
Yeah, what I try to do is I try to schedule. I go up. We were in the Federal League for years, so I've built some relationships with some of those coaches. So this year, we'll go up and play Perry, Massillon Perry. They'll come down and play us. We've played Massillon Jackson in the past. We play Green every single year, and they got such a great program up there. We're going to play Akron-Hoban. So, having a week non-conference schedule isn't going to help us when it comes tournament time. I want our guys to see the best pitching. Our conference is tremendously talented with the teams that we have, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we're ready when we get into our sectionals and districts, because that's the teams we're going to play. We're going to play the Federal League teams in those tournament games. So I want our guys to see the best pitching we can and be prepared.
Well, the All-American Conference will prepare you. You've already played Boardman. You get an absolutely loaded Canfield program for a couple of games. Warren, Harding, and Howland are nothing to sneeze at either. This is a really good conference for you guys.
It is, and the coaching staffs that these teams have are I know they're going to have their kids prepared. Gary Niddle over at Canfield and Joe Gabriel and Andrew and Warren. And so these teams are going to come in and they're going to be well prepared, and we got to play our best. You can't have a decent game and beat these teams. You got to come out, you got to play your A game, and you got to get ahead. Against Boardman, we fell behind in both games, and we had to battle to get back into those games, giving up early runs in both those games. And these teams are just too good for that. So we have to play better. We've played okay up to this point. But I know we can play better, and my players know that they can play better, and we will. But the conference is loaded, like you said, and it's going to be very interesting. Every single game matters. Every single game matters. So we'll see what happens, but we'll be ready.
Coach, have you played 2 games? I know you've played 2 against Boardman. Is that the amount of games you've played this year, or have you played one more game?
No, sir. We opened up on Saturday with Niles.
Okay.
Yeah, underneath the lights, yes.
Okay, so you're 3-0 on the campaign then.
Yes, we are, yes.
All right. And let's before we let you go, and we're speaking with Joe Paris. He is the head baseball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. Let's talk about that senior class that is you're relying on for leadership. Let's talk about that class, Coach.
They're amazing. I got 2 senior captains in Jake Lawrence and Vinny Shortino. And these guys, they get everything ready for practice, and when I walk into the gym after I get out of school, these guys are ready to go. And it just starts with those 2, and it just trickles down to everybody else. And it's so important that our young kids, especially that group that I talked about with our 18 freshmen, see that the older kids are focused in what we're supposed to do. I get the boys for about 2 hours a day. So, my main philosophy is I don't get so caught up in wins and losses. I just want my guys to play the game of baseball the way it's supposed to be played. And, when I get them, it's 100% all the time. And they know that. That's my philosophy. And it's important for those guys to pass that down to the youngsters that's in the program, because they set an example for those guys. And so it's not just those 2 boys, though. I just have an unbelievable senior class, and my junior class as well. There's just a bunch of great kids, great students. They come from great families. And, we got a great booster club led by Gennaro Russo. He doesn't even have any kids in the program, and he's doing all this stuff. So the whole it's just a bunch of moving parts, and everybody just comes together for the betterment of this program. And I'm blessed to be a part of it. Very blessed.
Well, the community of Austintown backs their school, backs the Falcons, whatever sports, and that's one of the cool things about Austintown. Is the fact that the community comes together for the athletics at the Austintown schools. Joe, congratulations on the success to this point. I know you got a long, long way to go with the season, 24 regular season games left. Hopefully the weather will clear to give us a good stretch of games so you guys don't have to practice nearly as much. And continued success to you, sir.
Oh, I thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you don't mind, I'd like to say hi to my wife and children.
No, please do.
They're a big part of it. They let me put the time in I need to make this program successful, and I am very, very grateful and thankful to them as well. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of your show today.
All right, Coach. Always a pleasure, sir.
Okay, take care.
All righty. Joe Paris, he is the head baseball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, off to a 3-0 start. And again, 27 games. in a regular season, and then you get into the tournaments. And Fitch, just like all the other blue-blooded programs, they're going to challenge their kids. They're going to play a really demanding non-conference schedule, and he made mention of the Federal League. Federal League is a fun league. Now, obviously, when Fitch and Boardman were members of the Federal League, it got to be time-consuming, especially when you were playing road games and you had to travel an hour. That's a little time-consuming, and it is a little difficult to keep that process. But for non-conference games, to play one or two of those teams, or have two of them come to your place, have two of them where you have to go to their place, hey, that's quality baseball. And that's challenging your kids. And I'm sure that Fitch is going to have an awful lot of fun with the past relationships that they've had and that they've built from the Federal League. All right, we're going to take a timeout on the other side. Coming up at 1:15, we will hear from the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards, Tom Otto. Leopards are off to a fantastic start to the 2021 campaign. We will talk with the Liberty baseball coach coming up momentarily. This is a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. We'll be back in a bit. Stick around.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at bairdbrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the four words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
The 2021 Auto Show must go on.
Exclusively at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Visit GreenwoodAutoShow.com
to see how Greenwood Chevrolet can go the extra mile for you.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, he's a little bit early, and that's okay. We're going to be speaking right now with the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards, Tom Otto. Coach, how are you today, sir?
Pretty good, Ronnie. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Life is good if you're a Liberty Leopard. Let's see, 2 starts, 14 innings, no runs allowed. You get off to a 2-0 start, beating 2 pretty quality baseball teams. Life is good if you're the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards.
Yeah, we're off to a great start. You know, Dwight Parker, the first game out, had an unbelievable performance probably the best performance I've ever seen in my 28 years of coaching baseball. Being in the same dugout and everything. He had 15 strikeouts and no walks, threw 87 pitches and threw a complete game to start the season against Warren Harding. And then, Trevor Strohmeyer threw 4 innings. I believe he had 4 strikeouts as well, no walks. And Anthony Patron came in relief the last 3 innings against Harding and had 4 strikeouts, no walks, and we haven't made an error yet either. So we might not be swinging it as well as I would like, but we're off to a great start, throwing it and catching it. So.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple of 1-0 victories for Liberty, and while you guys are playing solid defense and your pitching has been nothing short of sensational, the offense, 2 runs in 14 innings, okay, you need to work a little bit on that, but you have some talent on this team. There's no two ways about that, Coach.
Well, I'm very fortunate to have a very good senior class returning. Dwight and Trevor obviously lead us. Trevor's been a captain since his sophomore year. Dwight's obviously going to play at Westminster. As we were talking earlier, off the air, them guys have been our number 1 and number 2 pitchers since they were freshmen walking in the door. So I can remember, all the ups and downs and everything else to get to this point, walking in the door. They were probably both about 75 miles an hour, and they both have hit 83 in workouts and so on. So we're excited about what they bring to the team and their leadership. Dwight's maturity level this last season has been remarkable. He's really, helped carry us in that regards with him and Trevor. But also, we have a 4-year starter in Billy Coker in the outfield who's been, really, with COVID and everything else, he is a 3-year starter in center field for us. Nick Steves has been a starter since he was a sophomore, played a little bit as a freshman. Anthony Patron is within that group, started for us at first base since his sophomore years as well. And then 4 of them guys pitch as well. So, the group's been together a long time. I was very fortunate enough, when I left Westminster to take this job to become a teacher and coach there. And that was the group I've come in with. And our expectations are sky high, and we just hope to meet some goals that we've always had ever since I've walked in the door there. So.
Tom Otto is the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards. He joins me on the MPVivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. I've made mention, probably ad nauseum, but the last time we had baseball, your seniors were sophomores, your juniors were freshmen, and the sophomores and freshmen were in junior high. What makes Liberty really solid right now, at least on paper, you had a lot of kids who were freshmen and sophomores the last time we had baseball. You had a lot of those kids playing varsity ball, so it would definitely stand to reason why Liberty right now is off to such a tremendous start.
Well, we've been fortunate enough. Dwight's in a great program with the Glaciers in the summer. He's played with them for a lot of years. Trevor plays for me down at Scene Park in my Nightline program. I kind of threw him to the wolves as a 16-year-old and said, you're playing Big B, and that's all there is to it. And, sink or swim kid. And he played on a team that went to the World Series in the NABF that year. And we've been really fortunate to keep them kids together, also playing within the community. We had a decision to make, whether if we were going to play in the high school league that Coach Wolf had, or if they were going to stay together and play within the community. And we made a decision as a group that they would be better off, staying within the community to keep our community program alive. So they did play in some tournaments last year at the Field of Dreams. They did play a schedule within that league, so we were fortunate enough to do that. And, I was very blessed the first year at Liberty to have a good senior class along with this group that was then freshmen. And, we were seeded and really doing stuff in the program that they weren't used to, and winning some games and having a chance to accomplish some things. And, this group's been with me the whole way, and it's going to be very hard to, say goodbye at the end of the year. I just hope the ride lasts as long as it can, and we have some success along the way.
Coach, you made mention that you were coaching in collegiate baseball, and you took a job at Liberty and took the job teaching at Liberty. Tell everyone some of the differences between coaching in the college level and coaching in the high school level.
Are you there, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I thought I lost you for a second.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, what are some of the differences between you coaching in the college level and coaching in the high school level?
Well, I think with the high school team, there was so much that I wanted to do walking in the door. I was scripting practice and kind of used to, high-level amateur baseball in the B League. Obviously being down at scene for so many years and decades now, but also at the collegiate level, I just really had to slow down and kind of really make sure that we were working in a direction that was constructive every day and making sure that they grasped the concepts that we were trying to teach and let it take off from there. And like I said, first year out of the gate, we were very successful. We did hit a rough patch with kind of sophomore slump, I guess you could say, with this group as they were maturing when the older heads left and everything. But, we had high expectations last year. And I can't go without saying, we only lose 2 players from that group with the COVID season and Ty Mowry and Jake Scoville. But those guys would have been 3-year starters for us as well. To kind of piggyback your question as far as how it's different and everything else, I have guys like Dwight Parker and Trevor Strohmeyer that could play in college, but then I also got guys walking in the door that have never played baseball before at Liberty, and we got to teach them how to play catch and how to defend themselves and everything else. And our numbers aren't great for the baseball team. We started the year with 15. I've been as high as 23 in the past, so we've never really played a JV schedule or anything like that. So, it really comes down to forming a practice and practice schedule that's going to be not only benefit the kids that maybe aren't at the high skill level that we got to get better, but also preparing the players that, are some of the better baseball players in the area as well. So it's a very unique dynamic for us.
Have you found yourself in more teaching moments this year because of the fact we didn't have baseball in 2020?
Walking in the door and seeing what was left after the COVID season, we were fortunate enough through the rules with OSHA and everything to have some open gyms. And, we thought that we were maybe ahead of the game because we did take advantage of the rules and what we are allowed to do as far as some open gyms and just getting the kids together and being around the group again. I thought that was important to build the chemistry and do things of that nature. For us, I think everybody, everything and everybody that we touch in the program, it has to be a coachable and teachable moment because, like I said, we're not very blessed to where we got 8-9 guys coming in a class every year. Right now we have 4 freshmen, and I got a couple kids that haven't even played baseball before. So every year is kind of unique here at Liberty because that's the hand that we're dealt. But we make no excuses, and we got to coach up the guys that we have.
Tom Otto, the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. I'll say one thing. The league that you are in, it will prepare you for the tournaments. There is a lot of talent in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier. And if you want to schedule some non-conference games against your brethren from the Scarlet tier, there's some talent over there as well. It's up and down. It's a really nice conference for you guys.
Well, what can you say as far as what Champions has accomplished through the last few years? Coach Yager does a great job there. I've known him for well over a decade, back when his son Ricky played within the B League. Newton Falls is a very competitive program right now. They got two arms in the Cunningham and Honeycutt kid that are very good. I do know that they took a hit losing Gino Lazzari in basketball, who was going to probably be their best offensive player, who was also going to play for me in the summer as well. And then they have a young catcher there in Holden that I think is going to be a very good player. And then I was fortunate enough to sneak up to Scene Park and catch the final stages of the LeBray Ursuline game and so on. So, the conference is going to be very good this year. I've seen that Camel's off to a 3-0 start before they lost in conference the first time. So it seems that program's getting better and back to where it should be. And I just, look forward to kind of see what the year brings with the league, and hopefully we can compete for a title there. Liberty hasn't won the conference title since 1990. So, one of our goals is to hang a banner with this group. So we'll see what happens.
Coach, who are some of the non-conference teams that we'll see on your schedule this year?
Well, I've been very fortunate to schedule up a little bit, and that's something that I've always done since we've been here. Hubbard's on the schedule again this year. We're playing a double set with Niles and Struthers. I had Coach Dobson, who was on earlier, but we had to move some things around for their prom, so hopefully we get them back. We have scrimmage Poland and Ursuline in the scrimmage season, the scrimmage week. Hearing Coach Weimer, a former player of mine, mentioned that he had 3 scrimmages, so did we. We're trying to play up as much as we can to get ready for the postseason and hopefully make a mark there for the first time in a long time at Liberty.
Yeah, Division III, we've made mention. Let's see, Springfield is there, Ursuline is there, South Range is there, the MVAC Gray Tier is there. Division III is just going to be so difficult.
Well, it's going to be a meat grinder. Coach Hannock, another former player of mine, state championship coach as well. Very, very proud of them guys. Guys that I've had in my summer programs in the past and what they've accomplished and so on. But 3's going to be a meat grinder. It's going to be one of those things I always tell our kids. We have to do well in the regular season, hoping to get seeded, hoping to maybe get a bye, and that way you play one less game and you're one step closer to the district. So, we'll see what happens, but we're excited about our opportunities and just excited to get out there and play with this group.
Tom Otto, the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards. Before we let you go, Coach, I got to ask, because you've been involved in B-League action for quite some time. How do you go about the process of managing your high school team potentially against kids that are going to be on your team during the summer? Is it an advantage for you knowing what this kid brings to the table?
I've recruited this area for well over 25 years. I've also scouted the area very well. I've been blessed to have some great mentors, and Coach Popio, who was at Cheney prior to me being at Cheney and the head coach, Coach Giambattista, who was a longtime coach at Ursuline, Coach Kravonik. And one of the things that all 3 of them have really made a mark on me was the scouting, the preparation to do that, and then also just knowing what you want to do in practice every day and having a plan. Just not go out there and roll the balls out, but have a plan on what you want to do every day and what you want to accomplish, not only in practice, but also scouting an opponent and everything else. It was great to see, obviously. We played JFK the other day. Gavin Trum's going to be my shortstop on the Nightline program. And, lucky enough, we won that battle, and I think we were able to strike out Gavin twice. So knowing the area as I do, scouting the area, recruiting the area, I think it is an advantage for us that, I know who the players are and I know the other team prior to taking the field. So I've been very fortunate enough to be around a lot of great coaches that have, helped mold me into, what I've become. So,
Coach, best of luck to you the rest of the way. I know it's early on in the campaign. You got a ton of games left to be played, but a tremendous start for the Liberty Leopards program, and knock on wood, a lot of great health and great baseball along the way for the Liberty Leopards. Congratulations on the start, and best of luck moving forward, Coach.
All right. Thank you for the time, and thank you for everybody at YSN.
You got it. All righty. Tom Otto, he is the head baseball coach of the Liberty Leopards, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, we'll take a timeout and be back with more. It is a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars.
Back to a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Many, many thanks to our four coaches that have called in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Terry Dobson from Springfield, Matt Weimer from Ursuline, Joe Perez from Austintown Fitch, and Tom Otto, the head baseball coach at Liberty. All right, we'll take some phone calls now. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. While our conversation was going on with Tom Otto from Liberty, we got word that the entire season opening series between the New York Mets and the Washington Nationals have been postponed due to COVID-19 protocols. Apparently there are a number of guys with the Washington Nationals that are in quarantine. Washington received one positive COVID-19 test from a player on Wednesday morning. The league announced this, and then an additional 4 players were placed in quarantine because they were in direct contact with the player that tested positive. None of the 5 players would have been available for yesterday's game at Nationals Park. The Nationals and the Mets were trying to get this thing going today, but because of the ML, the CDC is the Center for Disease Control, this ain't going to happen this weekend. So the Nationals and the Mets, they will not play any baseball this weekend at all, as COVID pretty much destroys this weekend series between the Mets and the Nationals. Now, the good news is these two teams will play each other 19 games during the course of the 2021 campaign. So even though they've canceled what turns out to be 3 games, and all 3 games were to have been played in Washington, the next time the Mets come to Nationals Park, I'm sure that they will make up some of those games. I believe the series goes 10 games in one ballpark, 9 games in another park. So the Mets and Nationals, I believe the Mets would go back to Washington, D.C. 2 more times to play a series with the Washington Nationals. So those 3 games are going to be made up at some point later in the campaign. But the Mets and the Nationals will not be playing any baseball the rest of this week as their entire opening series, all 3 games, postponed due to COVID-19 protocols. So there you go. Both the Indians and the Pirates are off today. The Buccos got a victory over the Chicago Cubs yesterday, 5-3. The Buccos took advantage of a lot of walks 11 to be exact. The Cubs walked 11 Pirates hitters, essentially giving the Pirates 3 2/3 innings worth of free base runners. That's if you were to turn the 11 walks into 11 outs. 11 outs is 3 2/3 innings. So the Cubs essentially gave the Pirates free baseball and free base runners of 3 2/3 worth of free base runners, which is pretty amazing. The other amazing part of this is the Pirates didn't score more than 5 runs, but they get the victory over the Cubbies 5-3 in Game 1 of the campaign. Newman had 2 hits in the victory for the Pirates. Brian Hayes also homered in the Pirates' victory as well. Meanwhile, in the Motor City, it was a snowball fest, especially early in the contest. My goodness, was it snowing. Snowing so much that when Miguel Cabrera hit a ball that he didn't see leave the ball yard, it barely cleared the right field fence. He did a pop-up slide at second base, thinking that the ball was in play, but it was a home run. Cabrera hit a 2-run dinger in the first inning. Tigers scored another run in the bottom of the second off of Shane Bieber. That was it, though. They limited the Tigers to just 5 hits. Bieber pitched a pretty solid game after the first 2 innings. He went 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts. And Shane Bieber became the first pitcher in quite a while to have at least 2 opening day starts where he has struck out at least 12 batters. The list is very, very short. 4 Hall of Famers are on this list. Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan is on this list. Randy Johnson is on this list as well. And I believe the fourth, the fourth player, and I gotta think about this one. Randy Johnson, Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan, and I can't remember who the fourth pitcher was, but he's a Hall of Famer as well. Shane Bieber's on this list now, as Bieber becomes just the 5th player in Major League Baseball history to pitch multiple opening day starts with at least 12 strikeouts. The Indians scored their 2 runs in the top half of the 9th inning on a 2-run homer by Roberto Perez, and actually had the tying run on base, but could not get the tying run across the plate as they fall to the Tigers yesterday by the final score of 3-2. These 2 teams will be back at it on Saturday afternoon at 1:10. The weather is supposed to be really nice, both in Detroit and Chicago. The weather this weekend is supposed to be in the 60s. The Pirates will play the Cubs on Saturday afternoon at 2:20. Meanwhile, the Indians will be in Detroit for a 1:10 start. Julio Teheran is on the hill for Detroit on Saturday. Zach Plesac will be on the mound for the Indians. On Saturday, the Pirates, I'm going to have to look this up and see who they are scheduled to throw on Saturday as they play the Cubs on Saturday afternoon at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Pirates will send Anderson to the hill against Jake Arrieta. So that'll be the matchup at Wrigley Field in the middle game of their series. Meanwhile, as we made mention, middle game of the series in Detroit, it'll be Plesac going up against Teheran. Teheran is a right-handed pitcher, so you can expect Jake Bauers to get the start at first base, and you can also expect the center fielder, or at least for the time being, the center fielder for the Indians, Gamble, he'll be patrolling in center field. I seriously doubt that Rosario is going to get the opportunity to play in center field in Detroit. That's one of the more difficult ballparks to play in terms of center field. And I would imagine that they will probably wait until the Indians get back home. By the way, Monday is the opener, the home opener against Kansas City. The weather is supposed to be absolutely phenomenal up in Cleveland for that. And I believe the maximum number of fans allowed in the stadium is 11,000 for that particular for that game and the series of games until further notice, being that we're hopefully, knock on wood, on the tail end of COVID. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We got word this morning that the Youngstown State University men's basketball program does get a commitment to come back next year from Michael Akuche. Michael Lacouche has decided to come back next year. So the big man is back, and we'll certainly have some fun with Michael Lacouche as we will hopefully get some really good basketball, from the Penguins. Speaking of baseball, the YSU baseball team will be in action. That's going to begin at 2 o'clock this afternoon. 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Penguins will be taking on UIC. It's a little chilly, but in game number 1, Colin Floyd will make his 7th start of the season. He is set to tie the school record of 49 games started in his career. Floyd is also 6 strikeouts away from breaking the YSU career record for strikeouts. So there is a very good chance that Colin Floyd breaks that record today. He has had a tremendous start to the 2021 campaign. And again, the Penguins doubleheader with UIC. Game 1 is a 7-inning affair. Game 2, and then the doubleheader on Saturday. Both games of the doubleheader on Saturday will be 9 innings in length. So the only game that is not going to be 9 innings in length would be the first game of the doubleheader this afternoon. Game time, it's 2 o'clock this afternoon in Eastwood Field. As the Penguins will be taking on UIC. And this is a huge series. Make no mistake about this. This is a huge, huge series. UIC currently riding a 4-game winning streak. They are 6-6 in the Horizon League, 7-11 overall. Penguins have won their last game. They took 3 out of 4 from Wright State. They are also 6-6 on the campaign, 11-12 overall. Penguins looking to get back to 500 overall and get a victory over UIC, which would, at the very least, put them in 3rd place all by their lonesome, although Northern Kentucky is also 6-6. And Northern Kentucky is playing today. If I'm not mistaken, they are playing a doubleheader today against the Mastodons from Purdue Fort Wayne. These 2 games are supposed to be played at Fort Wayne, Indiana. I got to be honest, I really don't know if they were able to get this first game off. It was supposed to go off at 12 noon. I'll be very curious to see if, in fact, they do get this game off. Because, frankly, I don't know what the weather's like in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, it might be nicer there because they might be getting the weather that we're supposed to be getting tomorrow, which is pretty nice weather. Tomorrow's forecast is is supposed to be in the 60s. So I would assume that if they have the somewhat decent weather that we're supposed to be getting tomorrow, then one would assume that they would be in pretty good shape. But I'm going to do some searching right now in terms of what the weather is like over in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm punching it up right now. It's 42 degrees right now, and they are looking for a high today of 47, and then 63 degrees tomorrow. So their weather is a little bit better than the weather over here, as we're going to be stretching it to get to 45 degrees. It's 42 degrees. I beg your pardon. It's 38 degrees in Niles. And the daytime high is supposed to be 40 degrees. There is a lot of sunshine out there. And so the sun will make it feel warmer than 40 degrees, but the wind is going to be blowing from 10 to 20 miles an hour. So it's going to be downright chilly. It is going to be downright chilly today for that doubleheader between YSU and UIC. Tomorrow is going to be so much better. 56 degrees for a high tomorrow. And if had it not been for Easter Sunday, you're probably playing on Sunday. And Sunday's forecast calling for plenty of sunshine with a high of 67 degrees in Niles. So the weather will most definitely be a lot better for the Penguins and UIC in their doubleheader tomorrow. They're going to be a little chilly today for sure. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We'll take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy efficient experts.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Earlier today, the Penguins, the YSU men's basketball team, got some really, really good news as senior Michael Lacouche announced this morning that he would be returning for his 5th year of eligibility. And joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline to talk about this, the voice of the YSU men's basketball program, Rob Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt, sir, how are you today?
We're good. We're good for a Friday before Easter.
Indeed. All right, so Michael Lacouche, we had been talking a little bit about this because the off-season, he was one of those guys that was going to determine where this Penguins team would be on the pecking order of the Horizon League. And he comes back. Last year he averaged a tick under 10 points a game, little over 8 rebounds a game. He was in double figures 15 times last year, had 7 double-doubles. He is a big, big piece to Jared Calhoun's basketball squad, and having him back hopefully is going to start the ball rolling to get some of the other seniors back on this team.
Well, and the two guys that you're referring to really for the most part would be Garrett Covington and Naz Bohannon. Now, that being said, you're still wondering if Jameer Thomas is going to return after ACL surgery. Christian Bentley's already gone to the portal, so he's one of those seniors who will not be back. And two other players, as you well know, are graduating this semester and will be back in Jeff Hamperian and obviously Darius Quisenberry. But for Lacouche to come back, it sends a pretty good message to the other two in Covington and Bohannon. And I would put my money on Garrett coming back. And boy, if I would hope that the odds are in our favor that Naz comes back. He's got a little bit more to weigh as far as what he wants to do in his future. But for Lacouche to come back, this is a kid who annually has gotten better. If you look at his numbers, and you mentioned what he did last season, he has statistically gotten better each year that he has played. So, he's a guy that really became somebody you could depend upon last season, especially in the second half of last season. He's the guy that you talked about had the amount of double doubles that he did have, and he had the record 24 rebounds at Robert Morris. But when he wasn't scoring, Michael had figured out ways that he could still help the team win. He had figured out that even though he wasn't scoring, he never got down on himself. He picked his game up in other assets, as you had mentioned, rebounding, block shots, became a pretty good defender. So, that comes with maturity, and that's why it's a big announcement today for him and for the men's basketball team that Lacouche is coming back.
Rob, I think the second happiest person needs to be Sheikh Traore. One of the other things that Michael Lacouche was last year was a damn good mentor to Sheikh Traore, and just having him around is going to get Sheikh another year of getting some quality some quality practice where we hope that Sheikh becomes the dominant player that we both envision him being in the Horizon League in the near future.
No, you can't coach size, and Lacouche's that swing 4 at 6'8", but with Traore at 6'8", and young, you're exactly right as far as Michael being a mentor, but Jameer's 6'8", and if you were to lose both Thomas, I don't know where Jameer's at right now, as far as coming back or not coming back, but you hate to lose size, especially when you don't have a lot of it just yet. So you hate to lose that, and by having Michael come back, it's one less hole that you got to plug. It's just one more guy that you can depend upon, and again, the portal has really become the changing force in college basketball. In the Horizon League alone, there's just under 50 players out of the 12 teams in the portal. The only team right now that has nobody in the portal is Cleveland State. Everybody else has at least one member of its roster in the portal.
That's an amazing statistic, and just continuing to be impressed with what Cleveland State has done. They have become an unbelievably talented basketball team overnight.
Well, and the thing now is it can change so quickly. Dennis Gates is obviously still a hot topic in coaching vacancies. I still think that even though we thought maybe DePaul would be a good landing spot for him, and that job's been filled. On the coaching carousel, something could always happen. He is the difference for Cleveland State right now. I think he's the reason that no one's gone to the portal. Now, again, I think they play well as a team. I don't know if Cleveland State's got a lot of great individual players, but again, Gates is the guy that makes that team hold together, and he's done a great job by not letting anyone go to the portal. So, with Lacouche not going to the portal or not just flat graduating and say, I've had my turn, I'm done after 4 years, that's just one guy, it's just one piece you don't have to worry about having to fill in. The team that's really been hit hard this year has been Green Bay. They've lost 9 players to the portal from Green Bay. 3, including their top 2 returning players, have already found other schools, so they're gone. Amari Davis is going to Missouri and P.J. Pipes to Santa Clara. So, they've got holes to fill. So anytime you can get a guy like Lacouche to say, I'm coming back, and utilize that extra year because of COVID, it only strengthens your team in a league that's very evenly balanced anyways.
Rob Schmidt joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. With the kids that are leaving, Hamperion's gone, Kenny Gates Jr. is gone, Darius Quisenberry will be leaving as well. It opens up scholarships, and it gives the coaching staff an opportunity to bring in some more recruits. And obviously, we made mention size. We're hoping that Coach Calhoun and the coaching staff are going to be able to get some kids that are 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", to make the journey to Youngstown.
Well, I think they're still in that process. I think they're still in the recruiting process. I know they've got their eyes on several individuals who can play in the post, and then I'm sure they've got a couple of guys that I'm not aware of, but I know that they're out recruiting. They just haven't told me in particular who it is, but they're still out there trying to figure out, what holes or who fits best. I think they feel confident with what they've already secured coming into this off season and heading towards next year. But you just can't replace experience, and that's what Lacouche gives you. And depending on what Garrett and Nas want to do, that's just only going to solidify this basketball team. And I fully believe that if they can get a couple of kids to commit, that they may be looking at, then I think a good run could be in store for this basketball team. And right now I still think Wright State's the team to beat. I think Detroit Mercy. If I had to do a preseason poll, I'd put them number 2. Cleveland State would obviously be in the top 3. And, Wright State, they tried to pull an April Fool's joke yesterday, but, or Northern Kentucky. But their best couple of players are returning as well to Northern Kentucky. So, they're going to be a force as well in this league. Oakland's going to have to replace its best three-point shooter. Rashad Williams has gone to St. Louis. He's been a Penguins killer, so I'm not sad to see him go. But again, all these moves, there's a huge trickle-down effect in everything that comes and goes within the Horizon League. So by keeping Lacouche, that's just one less thing you got to worry about.
Rob Schmidt, the voice of the Mount YSU men's basketball program, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And, the freshman class that came in, a lot of kids got a lot of experience, and some kids got a little bit of experience. And, I would imagine that those kids that got a little taste of what is expected, hopefully they're getting a not-so-subtle message of, you better start being aware of your off-season conditioning program and working as hard as you can, because there's new kids coming in here and you don't want to be behind going into your freshman year part 2.
Well, the nice thing is what you have in Shamar Rattan-Mays, who was on the all-freshman team. It's just a matter, does he run point? Does he play the 2-guard? So you know what you have in Shamar. I just finished their highlight video. It's about a 2.5-minute highlight video that they'll end up sending to people to watch, whether it's recruits or, just in general. And one of the kids that we talked about that showed glimpses last season was Alex Vargo. And I'm still high on him. I still think he can be a big contributor. I kind of look at him like Michael Lacouche, who made a huge jump from his freshman to sophomore seasons. Daniel Laboro still has the size and the athleticism to make an impact. We saw a little bit of that last year at the point guard position. At 6'5", he's a matchup problem. To me, the guy that's really going to have to figure it out and maybe get to the weight room or understand his role a little bit more would be Will Dunn. He's an incredible talent. I think he can shoot it. At 6'8", he gives you some options. He's another stretch 4 like Lacouche. But again, that's where that experience comes in. That's that jump you make from freshman to sophomore to junior, and why having guys like Lacouche return make a big deal. And why you and I are talking today is because it's just hard to teach that experience. It's just, you can talk to these guys about how difficult it is to play 32 games or 35 games, or how difficult it is to be in the Horizon League, until you actually experience the speed and the difference between high school and college. So that's where I'm excited about guys like Miles Hunter, who showed glimpses again last year, and should make a good stride in the offseason.
Well, Rob, the glue that holds all of this together, we signed him extended to contract, YSU did, in Jared Calhoun, and I am just so impressed with what Jared Calhoun has done to this point at Youngstown State University, and I think the best is yet to come with this program.
Well, the thing that I've always said about Coach Calhoun is he's not afraid to kind of change his philosophy. I really commended him when he, during his second year here, he kind of changed his coaching philosophy a little bit and really started to make it tailored towards the players. And I even think now he's starting to kind of change his recruiting philosophy. And I've always said that I like when coaches come in and want to recruit high school players. I think that's the foundation of your program. I think those are the kids that you can coach a little bit easier. They don't have as many scars as a junior college player may have, unless you find the right junior college player. They are out there. But now I think with this portal and the amount of players that are in the portal, over 1,000, maybe even over 1,100 now, and the way you groom players, and then they want to go to the portal and move on, like we're seeing out of Darius Quisenberry. I think he's now starting to actually look at the portal himself and figuring, okay, where can we get some experienced players who can come in right away and contribute without having to go through as many growing pains as we do with true freshmen. So I think he's also kind of changed and adapted to the way college basketball is. And that's one thing I've liked about him is he's been able to adapt, his philosophy and his way of thinking to betterment this program overall.
We've talked an awful lot about Darius Quisenberry and the imprint that he had with the basketball program in his 3 years at Youngstown State. Look, I thought that his freshman year might have been his best year. I actually believe that he digressed a little bit, or regressed, I should say, from freshman year to sophomore year. But I do believe that he still has some great basketball left ahead of him, and it wouldn't surprise me if he stayed home in his backyard and played for Dayton.
Well, you're right. His freshman year, I think when he burst on the scene, he had opened a lot of eyes. Now, I really think he had a really good sophomore year. I mean, remember, he had the 41 points against Wright State. He made the game winner against Oakland when he drove the length of the floor. We really started to see him start to emerge as that kind of kid who could be talked about in the same breath as a Kendrick Perry. Now, he's not as good as KP was, but he was starting to get into that conversation. This year, he really had to set back because he had off-season wrist surgery, which knocked him back a little bit. He had a cyst taken out of his wrist. That knocked him back. COVID knocked him back. Then the ankle injury really knocked him back. So, his third year here was really tainted because of injuries and COVID. But you're 100% right in that he has great potential. And if you look, and you and I have talked about it, and I've mentioned it to a lot of other people, look at who was in the NCAA tournament this year out of the Horizon League and how much they contributed to their team's run. Jalen Tate from Northern Kentucky was probably Arkansas's number 1 or number 2 best player as they made their run in the tournament. Braden Norris, after 1 year at Oakland, transferred to Loyola. He was their starting point guard, probably one of their top 2 or 3 players that got them to the tournament. Even the Tyree Appleby that left Cleveland State, sat out of here at Florida. He had a big impact. He's as good as those 3, if not better. And now you got kids like Amari Davis from Green Bay, who's going to Missouri, an SEC school. Darius is as good, if not better, than Amari Davis. So you're right. His best basketball is still in front of him, and he's going to test the waters, and he'll make an impact wherever he goes.
Rob, this should be an exciting offseason, and I know that Coach Calhoun is bringing in a couple of really nice high school recruits. The young man from Mentor has put pen to paper, from what I understand. So, look, there's talent coming to the university to go along with a lot of kids that are coming back, and Michael Lacouche is the first of, we hope, 3 seniors that will be coming back again next year, and it's going to be all kinds of fun for sure.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed and everything else falls in line. But fortunately, the program's headed in the right direction, and I don't see it. It's not taking a step back; it's only taking a step forward. And really, that's the exciting thing. And one reason why we're talking basketball, while we're still in the middle of a spring football schedule. So I appreciate that, and it's always fun talking.
And listen, before we let you go, we have to bring this up because he was such a fan of Youngstown State University. The passing yesterday, or I should say the passing Wednesday of Jerry McGee. He was a guy that not only represented this area and gave so much back to this community, but Jerry McGee was a huge Youngstown State University fan. Talk about the imprint that Jerry McGee left to Youngstown State.
Well, he's a guy that if you don't really understand the type of professional golfer he was, go back and study up Jerry McGee. I mean, this was a guy who was on the Ryder Cup. This is a guy who rubbed elbows with Jack Nicklaus. His daughter-in-law is Annika Sorenstam. He was a true professional golfer, and he was, and I say that, but he was a celebrity on the tour. He should have been. I think people that knew him. Me personally, I felt as if he was truly a sports celebrity because he was. So, to see him to come to games the way he did, he would come to our weekly radio radio show, whether it used to be at O'Charlie's or the MVR, and Jerry would come to that. You know, this is a guy who was as big a professional athlete to come out of this area as anybody we've ever had. And for him to come, and he just had no air about him. He loved YSU athletics. He loved being around the kids. He was such a great man to talk with and just kibitz with. He just was such a down to earth guy, and his stories were phenomenal from when he was on the tour. And people that he got along with, and some of the guys that might have rubbed him the wrong way. But what a great man! When I was in television, I had promoted him. East Palestine's Jerry McGee, Shadow, whatever today on the tour, and then to finally have the opportunity to meet the guy. And I told him that, when we met, that I remember really kind of talking about him, and now to have an opportunity to meet the guy. When you first meet him, I was in awe of him, and then once you get to know him, he's like everybody else. He was a super guy, a great friend, and really enjoyed coming to watch our student athletes play, primarily basketball, but he really was behind this university. And I think he understood the commitment that our student athletes had to give to excel at their sport, much like he did when he was on the tour.
And I just, he and Ed Moransky are probably the two guys that, quote, made it big in their profession, in their sports field, and have come back home and did so much for the Mahoning Valley. And that, I think, is going to be the lasting impression and the legacy that is Jerry McGee.
Yeah, and you're right about Ed Moransky. He's one of the most generous guys I've ever come across. And really, in all honesty, he's one of the smartest guys that I know, because, he was able to take his professional career and really kind of follow up with what he's doing now in his business career, which is, to me, equally as impressive as you had mentioned. But, those are guys that were at the top of their game, top of their profession. And instead of coming back and trying to beat on their chest and say, look at me, they've done the complete opposite. They've come back and they've blended in with the fabric of this community and really have contributed to make it better. And the people that have had an opportunity to work with them and get to know them are obviously much better off in their lives.
Well, Jerry McGee's in the world are irreplaceable, and it's just such a wonderful guy, and it's just such a shame that we lose someone of that stature in this area. No,
you're 100% right. And, after reading the story, I was glad he had an opportunity to go down to Florida to be with his family, his son and daughter-in-law, and kind of be with them. It was difficult when he was up here, but it's a tragedy, but he'll never, he'll be with us forever. We'll never forget the man.
Rob, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you soon, brother.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
All right.
Rob,
you got it, man. Happy Easter to you. Rob Schmidt, the voice of the YSU men's basketball program, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Wow. Trying to get the words out here. We'll take a time out. Be back with more. It's a Friday edition of Running Point. Stick around. More to come.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
The 2021 Auto Show must go on.
Exclusively at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Visit GreenwoodAutoShow.com to see how Greenwood Chevrolet can go the extra mile for you.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Pirates and Indians both off today, as this is opening weekend, so their schedule had them playing yesterday, today off. And then you play Saturday and Sunday. So the Bucks will continue their series in Chicago against the Cubs. The Indians will be in the Motor City tomorrow and Sunday for their 3-game series with the Tigers, and hopefully a little more offense for the Indians, as they lost to Detroit yesterday 3-2. Pirates got a victory over the Cubs 5-3. games going on in Major League Baseball. They're just underway after a rain/snow out yesterday in Boston. They'll play today. Baltimore and Boston just getting underway. The rest of the games tonight in Major League Baseball, interleague game in Miami between Tampa Bay and Miami. At 8:40 tonight, the Dodgers are in Colorado to take on the Colorado Rockies. Trevor Bauer makes his Dodger debut for Los Angeles in Denver. The White Sox are in Anaheim to take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That game is going to start at 9:38. That is a weird-ass time to start a game. At 9:38, we're going to get things going. Just the advent of TV, when everyone was sitting back going, we're going to go to start our games at 7:05. Why don't you start the games at 7 o'clock? Okay, I understand. You go on the air at 7 o'clock. You have your to do, and then the game starts at 7:05. I get it, but 9:38. That's a little bizarre. So I guess the TV announcers are going to have 8 minutes to fill instead of 5 minutes to fill. Whatever. Houston is at Oakland. That is a 9:40 start. The Diamondbacks are in San Diego for a 10:10 start, and ditto with San Francisco and Seattle. By the way, that game yesterday won by the Mariners. In case you did not see, the Mariners knocked off the Giants yesterday. It took 10 innings. There were 4 extra inning games, which brings to the point the very controversial rule that Major League Baseball has with, and it's the second year of doing this, where the extra innings begin with a runner at second base, which, again, I'm of the thought process that don't change the game. If you want to make some changes that don't affect the game. Because the game itself, there's nothing wrong with baseball, the game itself. You don't need to do any different rules. The game itself is in pretty good shape. If you want to do some rules, change some rules outside of the game to make things a little bit quicker. The biggest of which is knock the time between innings down. It's 2 minutes and 45 seconds. 2.5 minutes of commercials, 15 seconds to get back on the air, and then at 2:45, you get back to the next half inning. Knock it down to a minute. Knock it down a minute to a minute and a half worth of commercials, and 15 seconds of setting up the inning, and then at the 1:45 mark, you're ready to start the next half inning. If you do that, you're saving 2 minutes per inning, 18 minutes per game. So now a 2 hour and 50-minute game suddenly becomes 2 hours and 32 minutes. And it's something that Major League Baseball can do, and it's something that they should do, frankly. But the extra inning thing, I'm not a fan of it. I understand why they do it, but I'm not a fan of it. You're not going to be doing it in the postseason, and you shouldn't. If you're doing something in the regular season, one would assume you would do it in the postseason. This is one of these things where, no, we're not going to do that in the postseason. Well, then why the hell do you do it in the regular season? Well, that just doesn't make any sense. But they were one of 4 teams that had extra inning games, and it's just something that everyone's going to have to get used to, is the extra inning rule that is in year number 2, and it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. Made mention of this earlier on. Those folks that sit back and say, or freak out over one game, the first game of the year, social media is loaded with people saying, oh, look, here's 161 more games of the Indians scoring 2 runs. I mean, that's the most absurd thing I've heard in a long time. If you're that freaked out over one game, put this in context. There are 161 games left on the schedule. 161 of the 162 games. 99.38% of the season is left. So you're freaking out over 62 one-hundredths of a percent. So by these people's logic, saying that the season is basically going to be, this is what we're going to see for the rest of the year, just 2 runs. By your logic, then that would mean that the New York Yankees are going to be scoring 2 runs a game for the rest of the year because, well, that's what they did against Toronto. Now, obviously, the Yankees' offense is just a tiny bit more impressive on paper and otherwise than the Indians' offense as it currently stands. But it's the same argument in theory. Using that same argument, Clayton Kershaw is going to be god-awful this year because, well, he gave up 6 runs in, 6 2/3 innings, 5 of them earned. He has an ERA under 8, so he's going to be terrible. No. It's one game. There's 99.38% of the season left. Talk to me when we're, 10% into this season, which is 16 games. All right, if the Indians are 2-14 and they're scoring like 2 runs a game, talk to me then. I mean, the whole argument of you're basing one game, you're going to base the entire season on one game that was played in the snow and played in 30-some-odd degree weather. Really? You're going to do that? Okay. Idiotic, but okay. The same thing with the Pirates. Pirates got a victory yesterday. Fantastic. And hopefully this is the first of many, 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 many wins for the Pirates this year. But anyone that would be sitting back going, oh, look at this, we're 1-0, we're on our way. Really? Let's taper it down a little bit here. It's come Memorial Day, I think everyone will have a much, much, much better opinion, one way or the other, of how things are going. One game isn't a pattern. To me, and I've said this when Anthony and I, when he was on yesterday, we've talked about this. I'm not going to really take any judgment one way or the other till about Memorial Day, and especially with players. I know that Jake Bauers is going to wind up being the public enemy number 1 for Indians fans. Get used to him because he's not going anywhere anytime soon. The Indians gave him an opportunity to have his one final shot. And this is one final shot. I mean, he had no options left. That's the reason why he beat out Bobby Bradley for the first base job, because Bradley outplayed him. Not to say that Bobby Bradley was anything special, because he wasn't. And not to say that he's anything special long term, because frankly, I don't think he is. I don't think Bobby Bradley is the answer at first base either, if we're going to be honest. But he outplayed Jake Bauers. He absolutely outplayed Jake Bauers. So if all things were equal, Bauers would have been sent back to AAA, and Bobby Bradley would be the everyday, at least against right-handed pitching, would be the starting first baseman. But that's not the case. Bauers did not have any options left. And this is a gamble on the Indians' part. The Indians are rolling the dice, and they are betting on Jake Bauers to be a productive major league player. Maybe not the future first baseman, but a productive major leaguer where he is going to be able to have a Major League Baseball career. And they're going to give him every opportunity to have that. And I would suspect that you will not see Jake Bauers released anytime prior to Memorial Day if he's struggling. Unless the Indians have come to the conclusion that he's just not going to cut the mustard in Major League Baseball. And if that's the conclusion, then they will designate him for assignment. They will take the risk of having him potentially get picked up by someone on waivers. Right now, the Indians are not willing to take that risk, and that's the reason why Jake Bauers won the job at first base. Now, the guy that I'm going to be looking for right now is Yu Chang, because whether it's Bauers or Bradley playing first base, Yu Chang is about to become your first baseman against left-handed pitching. He's the guy that's going to be the first baseman against left-handed pitching, because neither Bauers nor Bradley can hit lefties right now. And I think that's where Chang is going to be the first baseman against left-handed pitching. All right, let's go to Champ real quick. Champ, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You got to be smiling knowing your Tigers won on opening day.
Yeah, it was nice, and and I'll say this Tiger season, this whole season is about putting together a pitching staff that's going to be hopefully good for the next 4 or 5 years. That's what this whole season is about, because all the pitchers that they've been piling up for the last 5 years, they're now in the major leagues in AAA. So, and I think that everything they need to be a really good pitching staff might be right in their minor league system. They just need to develop these guys. And that's why it was encouraging that they hung on and won that game yesterday, because last year they always had 1 or 2 bad innings from that bullpen, but there's guys down there with really good arms, and that's the whole season to me, developing the bullpen and getting this rotation together heading into the next season. It's all about that.
Yeah, and I thought that Boyd, I mean, he gave up 4 walks. His control wasn't really that good, but Boyd did a really nice job making sure that guys weren't getting the meat part of the bat on the ball. He did a real nice job of placing his pitches, and the Indians really didn't get a lot of good contact on him.
Yeah, and watching the game, I had a few observations, because it cracks you because it's only one game, and it's interesting to me that I was listening to some talk shows after the game yesterday, and how the Indian fans were just freaking out, because if you compare this to like football, where they play now 17 games, this would be equivalent of being like in the first quarter of an NFL first game of the season. What we're talking about here, basically.
Basically, the first series of the first quarter.
Yes, right. So, I mean, that's kind of puts it in the proper perspective. But a couple things about the Indians that, to me, I feel different about. First of all, the Indians' youth is something the Tigers have an issue with also. And I think that that their pitching is so young that it's going to be tough, and the Tigers are facing the same problem, because let's face it, the difference between the number 1 and number 5 starters, the number 1 guy goes 8 innings, the number 5 guy can only go 5 innings. And that's the challenge with these young pitchers, is they throw so many pitches, and by the time they get to the 5th inning, they're up to 80, 90 pitches. And that's how you go from a 5 to a 1, is be able to get in the 6th and 7th, 8th innings to help your bullpen out. And I think that's where the Tigers have an issue, and I think the Indians do to a point, because they're much younger as a pitching staff. And I couldn't get over that the Indians and Tigers are the 2 youngest staffs in baseball. That surprised me.
Yeah, it's the Indians' pitching rotation, though it is experienced, and Bieber is the guy that with the most experience. He's only 25 years of age. I mean, he's the graybeard guy on this team. It's a very, very young starting rotation, much like Detroit's, and Detroit's is talent-wise every bit as good as Cleveland's. They just don't have the experience that Cleveland has yet.
Yeah, it's amazing, because the guy that was the late-round pick, and he's my favorite of these youngsters, I think that Tariq Skubal just flew through the system. He's kind of passed up the other 2 young studs, but he's a left-hander, and he was not really highly thought of when he was drafted, but I like him the best right now. He's kind of ahead of the other guys pitching-wise, but their ability to go out and get 2 veteran pitchers who actually pitch pretty well and earn the spot on the team helps them also, because these guys can throw innings, and that's what they need right now, because these Mize and Skubal and Manning, they're not going to throw 200 innings this year. Are you kidding me? That's not going to happen. I mean, they're in the process of getting to 150 innings first. Let's try that first.
Yeah, and the biggest way to get those innings is to throw first pitch strikes, and master the art of getting the first pitch strike, and there's a really good chance that you're going to be able to pitch a lot of quality innings because you're not going to be throwing many pitches per inning. If you hit your first pitch strike, you're probably looking at as long as you're not putting the pitches in the danger part of the hitter's zone, you're probably looking at anywhere from 11 to 13 pitches an inning, and that's anywhere from 99 to 117 pitches in a game. So you can eat up a lot of innings if you do first pitch strikes.
Yeah, and the situation, with the Tigers is it's all about pitching. They've got some young hitters, but the guy that really kind of blew them away and didn't expect it is this Rule 5 pick from Minnesota. Now, they kind of lucked out 3 years ago when they got that Victor Reyes, and he literally had to stay on the bench the whole year so he couldn't go back to the team that originally drafted based on those Rule 5 rules. And, he was horrible, but he's kind of, every year he gets a little better. Now they got this guy came out of nowhere. His name is Akil Badu. He's never played above A. He's like 22 years old, and they signed him as a Rule 5 player. And the guy just did as about as good as you can do in spring training, power, everything. So they forced him. He's now on the team, and that took away a roster spot for a couple guys that are now down in AAA.
Oh, and that's the rule. I mean, you have to keep them on the major league roster the entire season. If you don't, then you have to offer them back to the team that you took them from in the Rule 5 draft. So this kid's going to learn an awful lot. Now, does that guarantee him a roster spot in 2022? Probably not. He'll probably go back to minor league baseball in 2022 unless he has an unbelievable caliber year. The kid that the Indians lost to the Pirates in the Rule 5 draft, Oviedo. We saw Oviedo in the Mahoning Valley. This kid has electric stuff. The Pirates liked him enough to keep him on the opening day roster, and he'll stay with the Pirates and pitch out of the bullpen. And if the Pirates give up on him, then they got to offer him back to the Indians. And I suspect that they won't give up on this guy because, guys that throw in the upper 90s, they don't grow on trees. Even though a lot of kids do throw in the upper 90s, it's not like a lot of them grow on trees.
Right, and that's the situation. And he's going to play this weekend. I heard the manager of the Tigers says they're going to play Badu this weekend because you can't have the guy just sit around. He's got to play. And they have a lot of versatility on this team. They have 7 guys that actually play outfield on this team, and 4 of those guys are also infielders. So they got a lot of mix and match guys, and it's a mystery who's going to play what position at some time. But I kind of like that versatility they got. But I think A.J. Hinch is the right guy for the right moment for the Tigers right now because he's coming in the same situation he did in Houston. But like you said, you got 100 prospects. You're lucky if you get 10 of them to stick.
Well, as long as you can keep him from cheating, all is well. He's a good guy. It's just he got caught up in the stupidity over there, and hopefully he doesn't give this organization a black eye, like he did with Houston. If he has, for lack of a better term, if he is rehabilitated himself and is no longer the cheating person that he was when he was in Houston, then I think that the Tigers have a really good manager.
He's just not allowed to mess with any of the garbage cans, especially the steel ones. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Looking forward to the weekend. It's just bizarre watching Youngstown State football play. It's just kind of weird that they're playing, but I kind of like it in a way. But anyways, looking forward to the rest of the series. They match up again next weekend, but I just want to get these games over with the Indians because they just pretty much dominate the Tigers.
Yeah,
the Tigers are lucky to win that game. So.
Listen, speaking of dominating, Miguel Cabrera just dominates the Indians, and it doesn't even matter who they pitch. He just destroys Indians pitching, and he was at it again yesterday.
Yeah, it's funny that Miguel, actually, the last couple of years, he's kind of stayed healthy, and he looks like he's in better shape, but I tell you what, the best thing that ever happened is letting him play first twice a week. He looks like a kid on Christmas morning now. He seems to get his mojo back because, you know what, I'm a first baseman, and the last thing I want to do is sit in a dugout and not play defense. So they're going to give him a shot to it. And you know what? He might be the best first baseman on this team because his defensive abilities are terribly underrated, I think.
Well, he made a diving stop that saved a run in yesterday's game. The Indians had, runners at first and third or first and second with nobody out, and Cabrera made a really nice play behind first base to rob someone of a base hit that would have most definitely driven in a run. So, Miggy still has a pretty decent glove.
Yeah, now, interesting because you talk about baseball, and I'll leave with this. But yesterday, that game, two plays really determined that game. And they were both fundamental plays. The first was the inability to catch the third strike that Reyes was able to get the first, and he scored that inning. And the second one was overthrowing the cutoff man by their left fielder. That's how baseball is so simple that little things like that can lose the game, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's you got to hit the cutoff man. You got to catch the third strike. It's fundamentals. You cannot afford to give a Major League Baseball team, I don't care how good or how bad the team is, you cannot afford to give a Major League Baseball team any extra outs or any extra men on the bases or an extra base. You got to play fundamentally sound. If you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you. And I don't care if you're playing the best team in the league or the worst team. If you're not fundamentally sound in baseball, you are going to get burned.
Yeah, you look at the dominant teams throughout history, they always have one thing in common. They're usually very good defensive teams. Even that 84 Tiger team, they had great pitching, great hitting, but they were the number one defense in the major leagues. They were up the middle. They were unbelievable with Whitaker, Trammell, Lemon, and Parrish. Can't get much better than those four up the middle.
No, absolutely. I mean, and they were the gold standard up the middle that season, and that's the reason why they were able to do so very well. Hey, just enjoy the fact that you're in first place. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Detroit in first place in baseball.
Yeah, I think the last time they were in first base, I think I was still wetting the bed. But just kidding. But yeah, it is good. And I got a whole day to enjoy it because they're probably going to end up losing the series 2-1, and they'll be out of first place. But for 2 days, they were in first place. I'm celebrating.
Hey, listen, you guys in Kansas City, you and Anthony can have at it on Monday if KC and Detroit win their series and they stay in first place. You guys can celebrate a little bit on Monday.
Well, I'll give them a little hint. If you turn the standings in the newspaper upside down, your team's in first place.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Believe me, I've done it many times. I appreciate it, Ron. Good luck this weekend.
All right,
Talk to you later.
See ya. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It's a Friday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Really fast-moving game going on at Eastwood Field. This is game number 1 of the 4-game series between Youngstown State and UIC. This is the 7-inning game. This is the only game of the series in which it'll be 7 innings in length. The second game of the doubleheader and both games of the doubleheader tomorrow will be 9 innings in length. But today, middle of the 3rd inning, this game started at 2 o'clock. So 42 minutes into the game, and they're already in the middle of the 3rd inning. That's pretty quick. Mr. Floyd has 4 strikeouts through 3 innings, and he has kept UIC off the scoreboard. Now, unfortunately for the Penguins, they haven't scored either. So this game is scoreless into the bottom half of inning number 3. Colin Floyd is 2 strikeouts away from breaking the Youngstown State University career record for most strikeouts by a pitcher in his career. 265 is the record. Colin Floyd is currently at 263. So he is 2 punch-outs away from getting the all-time record for most strikeouts by a pitcher at Youngstown State University. Again, middle of the third inning, Youngstown State and UIC scoreless. That game can be heard on ysnlive.com. Richie Giuliano with the play-by-play. The National Football League in this offseason, they're considering a couple of rule changes, the biggest of which is to get rid of overtime in the exhibition season. They're looking to get rid of the OT rule in general in the exhibition season. My whole thing with the overtime is take a page from college football and do that. Now, don't start at the 25-yard line. I think that you should start at the 40. Make it challenging. Start at the 40-yard line. All right, if you don't get any yardage, then you're looking at a 57, 58-yard field goal attempt, which is not doable it is doable, but it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. So if you were to do what college football does, but instead of put the ball on the 25-yard line, put the ball on the 40-yard line, I think that would be something that would be really entertaining. And oh, by the way, it would give both teams an opportunity. Now, in the regular format that is the overtime rule, if the team that gets the ball first scores a touchdown, well, the game is over. And you're sorry about your luck, you're not getting an opportunity. That's BS. By taking a page from college football's playbook and moving the ball back to the 40-yard line and say, okay, here's what we're going to do for overtime. Ball is marked on the opponent's 40-yard line. Go. You'll try to put it into the end zone or kick a field goal. This is where we're going to put the ball. The other one that I think is pretty interesting, this was a proposal sent by the Philadelphia Eagles. This one would allow teams to keep the ball by converting a 4th and 15. So in other words, if you score a touchdown or kick a field goal, you have the opportunity to get the ball back if you were to convert a 4th and 15. Now, their idea is do the 4th and 15 from their own 25-yard line. For me, I think it should be wherever you kick the ball. So let's say you kick it off at the 30-yard line or the 35. That's where you're doing this. And if you happen to miss, let's say the guy gains 11 yards, and you started from the 35, move the ball to the 46-yard line, that's where the opposition's going to take over on your 46-yard line. It's going to do away with the onside kick, which a lot of people believe is very dangerous. The onside kick with bodies colliding, they're full sprinting the whole 9 yards. Look, I mean, you want to get away with the onside kick. You want to do away with the onside kick and have a more exciting version of that. Fine. 4th and 15. The ball is on wherever you kick. What is it? The 30-yard line, I think people are kicking now. Ball's on the 30-yard line. Convert a 4th and 15. If you convert a 4th and 15, you get to keep the ball wherever you put the ball. I think that would be a fantastic idea. And again, it would get rid of the onside kick, which is quite dangerous, and frankly, give some teams a much better opportunity at getting the ball back. Let's go to Tony. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, Tony?
Hi, Ron. It's been a while. Hey, I actually, be honest with you, I had it down number 3 times because did I have enough 8s in the first part of it, or whatever? But, hey, I want to tell you what I learned today. I learned that there's an NCAA team called the Mastodons, and now I have a new favorite mascot name.
Yes, the Mastodons from Purdue, Fort Wayne.
That is great. I lived in Fort Wayne. I had never heard Mastodons before, so I thought that was great.
Yeah, it's an elephant. It's an elephant, Tony.
I'm sorry?
It's an elephant. The mastodons, it's a type of an elephant.
Right. But still, that's great. Hey, the other thing I'm really upset today because I really was hoping the Indians would go undefeated this year, and it looks like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's but the season's over according to some people because they
it's close.
They
didn't. Close. One more loss this year, we're probably mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, right? That's. I think Champ brought up an interesting point with the National Football League being 17 games in length. And Major League Baseball at 162 games. This is the equivalent of the first series in the first quarter. So essentially what you're doing is booing the team off the field after one series, which some folks tend to do. So who knew?
Well, at some point the pendulum is going to swing. And I'll tell you what, when I was a little bit younger, I had season tickets to the Cavaliers, and I hated Detroit, the Pistons, the team we could never get over the top with the Pistons. And at the same time, just slightly before that, it was the damn Tigers up there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, can you remember when you just could never beat the Tigers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, about 8 years ago, when the Indians were first trying to get back into the winning ways. They couldn't get past Detroit to save their life. Miggy and those guys owned them up there.
Yeah. So eventually the pendulum's going to swing the other way, and rather later than sooner, I hope, because it's been fun beating them, 19 out of 20 times or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, are we talking football draft yet or not?
No, we can, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted I got a list of guys I want for the Bills, by the way.
Well, look, I mean, what the Bills have done this offseason has been nothing short of spectacular, and I can't wait to see what they do draft-wise.
They have no holes, which is a great place to go into the draft. You're marginal at worst in every position, so you can only go up from here in the draft. So anything you get in the draft is icing on the cake, right?
Yeah, they do need to get a whole lot better rushing the passer. They definitely need to get a whole lot better rushing the passer. And I think one of the things that even though Ed Oliver
maturity could be a part of that, okay?
Well, it could be, but one of the things that I liked about Ed Oliver in the last 6 or 7 games, he provided some pretty consistent middle of the line, push the line back type of rush, where he didn't get to the quarterback per se, but he was able to get the quarterback off of his throwing area.
He was occupying space and freeing up other people.
Yeah, and he was also pushing the pile back toward the quarterback, so he was getting a little bit of heat on the quarterback up the middle, but. You got to find someone opposite of Jerry Hughes, because Hughes wasn't as effective this year because that was the guy that was mainly the pass rush, and everyone knew it. So Epinesa and some of the other kids that are being groomed right now, they're going to have to hopefully have a really good breakout year in year 2.
Now let's give Epinesa a little bit of a pass because he had his rookie year was the COVID season. So there's a lot of learning. He wasn't able to do that first year.
No, I agree with that. And I think that there is some room to grow, but that is without question the weakest part of the Bills right now is the fact that their non-existent pass rush cost them an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're also getting Star, whatever his last name is, back in the middle to help out.
Yeah, and hopefully he hasn't lost a step, and hopefully he still has passion for the game. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, he and Ed Oliver.
Didn't they pick up a couple edge guys though?
Yeah, they did, and we'll see what happens. I mean, again, last year's kids they picked up were below average at best. So hopefully they do a better job of the free agents that they picked up in along the defensive line.
So I had 4 guys I'd love to see them steal in the draft, and none of them were edge rushers. So maybe we're on a totally different page. But I agree, that is the weakest spot. But there are other positions you can fill. This Trey Sermon out of Ohio State,
Yeah.
He looks to drop well into the draft. And he may be a steal because I thought he was pretty impressive at Ohio State.
No, I agree with you. I think that if he's there late in the second round, I would grab him in a heartbeat. Even though they just signed Breida, who used to play at Miami, and
love that guy. You know, I love speed.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
And prior to that, he played in San Francisco and did pretty well with San Francisco.
That was his best year.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think if Sermon is there late in the second round, you got to take him because that kid could be a really good player in the National Football League.
Here's my steal in the first round if he falls far enough, because some people are projecting him to drop into the second round. Is Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, the lineman?
If he's there, consider yourself to be Christmas Day. If he's there.
Yeah. Now, they say everybody's concerned about him because he doesn't have the length. He's only 6'3", just over 300 pounds, 6'3". But he was a dominant, very athletic, dominant player. So his footwork was great. His hands were great. He was able to play very good tackle. He opted out last year.
Yeah, Tony, I get so tired of people not basing everything off of what they saw on film. I mean, and everyone gets caught up on numbers and say, well, he really doesn't have this. Just watch the film.
This is film. This is actually the numbers game they're playing with the height. So
I don't care about that stuff. Tell me what this guy does and show me what this guy does on film. And he played in a great conference.
Here's my point on him. If he can play tackle, if he can't play tackle, that's a bonus to me. But he can play guard and center. He's extremely athletic and extremely football-wise. He's probably the equivalent of what people thought of Aaron Donald coming out of college, maybe. Gosh, he's only, 6 foot, maybe 6'1"?
Yeah. Yeah, it just...
and maybe he can dominate at the inside of the line like a... Donald can go out to the edge, too. I mean, that guy's a freak.
No, listen. I mean, I just give me the guy that really does a good job on film. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about how many pounds how many reps of 225 pounds he does. I don't care about the underwear Olympics. I don't care how high he jumps. Just show me the film. Show me what this guy does on film, and that's the determination as far as I'm concerned.
I do love the underwear Olympics, though, but still, I think these guys measure up on both counts probably. And I want two brothers to get drafted by the Bills this year. It's Chaz Surratt and Sage Surratt. I want the Bills to get both of them, and they'll probably go 4th, 5th, 6th round, both of them.
Yeah, it's one of them. The
Chaz Surratt by some boards is listed as the 5th best linebacker.
Yeah,
but he'll slip, and he is oh my gosh, the one we just re-signed, the linebacker.
Milano.
Matt Milano. He's a Milano type guy, very athletic, not super tall, 6'2", maybe, a little undersized, but very athletic and great cover guy.
Yeah.
And his brother, Sage Surratt, I'm going to draw a comparison. He's a competitor, a fierce competitor, no blazing speed, but he's got that 6'3" frame at wide receiver. Back to Chaz Surratt, he came into college as a quarterback to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they moved him from quarterback to linebacker. So that gives some perspective on this guy, his athleticism. But Sage Surratt's a 6'3" receiver. Michael Thomas. He's competitive like Michael Thomas. And, Michael Thomas isn't a burner.
No.
But he competes for the ball, and he'll go up and get it. He'll go down and get it. He'll get the ball. Sage Surratt, his issue, and he'll slip because of it, at the college level, he had trouble to get separation downfield. I mean, they were trying to run him downfield, but that may not be his game like Michael Thomas.
Yeah. Well, look, both of those kids can play, and I'll be interested to see if a team, and hopefully you're right on the Bills, hopefully someone drafts both of them so they would be able to play on the same team. It would be nice if Buffalo had gotten the other Edmonds kid who's in Pittsburgh. Hey Tony, I gotta get scatting.
Have a good Easter, my friend.
Happy
Bye.
Easter to you. All right, we're out of here. We will talk on Monday. Power Hour is coming up next. Before we go to Power Hour, let me run down here and see if we got an update on YSU. No. No updates. All right. So YSU and UIC at last report still scoreless in the bottom of the third.